and the music of Olmeca Countercultura. And 17 years ago, about 3,000 indigenous Mexicans took up an important town in southern Mexico, as well as close to 40 other municipalities, all part of the state of Chiapas, Mexico. That's going to be coming up next. Some young folks are in studio. They just recently came back from Chiapas, Mexico. This is Margaret Prescott, host of Sojourner Truth on Pacifica Radio's KPFK, 90.7 FM in Southern California, 98.7 FM Santa Barbara, streaming, podcasting worldwide on the web at kpfk.org. If you've missed any part of this hour from 10 this morning, for 90 days after that, just go to kpfk.org, scroll down to archives, click on Sojourner Truth. You'll be able to hear the show in its entirety, download, and you can subscribe for a free podcast. So, protesting NAFTA, which symbolized the entrance of Mexico to modern economy, better represented by the globalization processes, the Zapatistas surprised everybody. And since then, they have been a fixture in Mexico, not only in Mexico, but they are now internationally known. A lot has changed in the last years for the EZLN and the Zapatistas. The changes in the political establishment as well as international geopolitics have changed, and there are many networks based here in the United States who visit Chiapas, have a relationship with the Zapatistas that are building autonomous communities right where they are, and some of those young folks are here in studio from Southern California. They're participants in the Arma delegation that recently went to Chiapas, and I would like to welcome Xochitl Quintero. Xochitl, thank you so very much for joining us.
Hi, Margaret. Thank you so much.
Yeah, also with us is Sammy Carrera. Yes. Thank you, Sammy. And Carla Villanova. Thank you so very much. All righty, so let's start with you, Xochitl. You start to tell us a little bit about Arma, the Arma delegation, why you went to Chiapas, and some of what you brought back with you.
Okay, well, I would say that as a group, we collectively wanted to go there to learn just really the current situation for the Zapatistas and to learn from the Zapatistas, because a lot of us do social justice organizing. So we wanted to take that information and bring it back to the States and share also information that we learned while we were there.
Right. And Sammy, tell us, I mean, you had a chance to spend some time with and walk with the Zapatistas. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what was happening on the ground.
It was a beautiful experience. We had the chance to exchange, dialogue with the Zapatistas. We had it was a political, cultural, experience for us, and it was just a very surreal situation out there for me.
And surreal in what way?
So when we arrived to the Caracoles, just seeing that how the Zapatistas.
Tell our audience what a Caracoles is.
So a Caracol is a Zapatista community, you can say, where the Junta del Buen Gobierno meets. So the Junta del Buen Gobierno is the organizing body of some of the Zapatista communities. So this is where some of the juntas meet, and so it's a Zapatista community. And so when we arrived into the Caracoles, to find out that the Zapatistas enjoy playing basketball, and very very just
regular stuff,
regular simple things that kind of surprised me, and so we had a chance to play basketball with the Zapatistas, have a cultural exchange, through music, through arts, poetry, and things of that.
Right. And Carla, tell us a bit about your experience there. Did you have a chance to spend time with the women who are part of the Zapatistas community, and what are the conditions they're facing from your observation?
We weren't able to spend like separate time with just the women of the community. It was all done in groups.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I found amazing was how young some of the people in the Junta de Buen Gobierno were. You know, they're taking very important charge, making decisions in their communities, 16, 17-year-olds. I thought that was amazing.
Right. And what are some of the concerns that you could gather that people are facing right now in at least the Zapatista communities that you visited or community that you visited?
A lot of what we concentrated on as a delegation and the dialogue that we had with them focused more on maybe some of the positive stuff, how they've come so far, how they keep organized, how they communicate with their communities. But what we saw maybe was like, access to resources. We didn't specifically see it, but we know they're dealing with a lot of oppression from the government.
A lot of poverty.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so Sochi, back to you. I mean, there were 11 of you who participated in it. Yeah, and it's being described as a political, personal, and spiritual transformation. And where did delegates come from in addition to Los Angeles? And what was the exchange? What were you able to share with the Zapatistas?
Right. So we had delegates, obviously, from Los Angeles, like ourselves, also San Diego, Phoenix, and Austin, Texas. So we had a pretty broad range of people coming from different communities. So it was really nice to have a big group like that come together in Chiapas. And as far as an exchange, I think one of the highlights that we felt that was really important is we put on a play for the Zapatistas, and we were able to highlight some of the things that happen to our students in schools, meaning...
Is that what the play was about?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it was about the militarization of our schools, and so that's something that the Zapatistas are not exposed to necessarily, and we were able to bring that to them as kind of news from the States and something that happens in our communities.
Right. And Sochi, how aware did you find people were of what is happening in the U.S.? I mean, did you have a chance to discuss any of the broader things happening in movements around the world, the so-called Arab Spring or anything else? I mean, how much did people know about what's going on outside of Zapatista communities?
Right.
Sochi.
Yeah, thank you. I think I would have to say just my general impression is that they know a lot of information. They know a lot of things that are happening outside of Chiapas. And I can see that their knowledge base is very broad. So I can't think of a specific example, but just the general feeling that I got.
Right. And Sammy, you talked about folks being involved in just regular stuff, young people. Carla mentioned how many youth, are involved in it. So were all of the people in the delegation young people like yourselves? And what did you learn from that? I mean, what did you bring back, given the involvement and the responsibility that you saw young people taking in that community, Sammy?
Right. Everyone in the delegation is young. I'd say an age range between 20 and 30. Now, what I brought back was, everyone is really young. The majority of the people in the Junta de Buen Gobierno is young. So, for me, it kind of I impose a duty to myself, to further in the struggle, for social justice out here in the States, and to continue that effort, that collective effort.
Right. And Carla, so we've got literally just about 4 minutes left or so. And there's an event coming up, a Chiapas delegation report back. Tell us about that event and some of what you're hoping to achieve with it.
So as delegates with Arma, one of our responsibilities was, we felt as a group, is to bring back the information and the experiences that we had in Chiapas and share it with folks over here in our communities. And that's what this event is about. It's about reporting back that information. And it's going to be at the Eastside Cafe tomorrow at 7 p.m. And we'll have delegates. Most of the delegates will be there, and we'll be sharing very specific information about the places that we went to, like the schools and the clinics.
Right, and Sochi, I wanted to ask you, what impact do you think that visit had in terms of the work that you and perhaps others in the delegation may be already involved in or interested in being involved in right here in Southern California and other places where delegates hailed from?
I think to see the Zapatistas work in practice was really inspiring for all of us. And I think that we realized, or at least I can only speak for myself really, but I realized that even, if our organization is small, we don't have a lot of resources, there's still a lot of big things and a lot of positive things we can do as a group. So I would say that was one of the major lessons a lot of people, I think, maybe took away from it.
Right, and Sammy, also to you, a similar thing. I mean, do you think that the visit impacted you in any way in terms of how you see the work that you're either doing here or you would like to do? I mean, I know there's a whole movement of trying to build autonomous communities with dignity, relying much less on government. We see how much government is failing people these days, and people really moving away from that whole concept. Sammy?
Yes, definitely, very, inspiring, just like as Sochi said. Also, my idea of autonomy has definitely changed, and what it means to be in an autonomous collective or to have an autonomous community. So definitely, it's changed my perspective.
Right, and Carla, the other delegates, there were people from San Diego, from Phoenix, from Austin. You're saying that a lot of the delegates are actually going to be at this event. So this would be a great opportunity, it seems to me, for people to have really some in-depth discussion with delegates. But do you know if people from other parts of the country, other cities who were there, are they also involved in trying to work on building autonomous type spaces and communities where they are, Carla?
Yes, they definitely are, and that's the common theme that brought us all together, right? Is because folks are doing this not only in LA but in many other cities around the United States, and that was one of the things that brought the delegates together. And at the report back, everybody will be able to explain maybe what they're doing in their communities, how it affected them.
Right, and tell us again, give us the information again about the event coming up, and also if there's a website where people could get information about your network. I see that you're guided by the principles inform, resist, rebel, create.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
I got it right.
The event tomorrow is at 7 p.m. at the Eastside Cafe. It's 5469 Huntington Drive. And we'll be there for about 2 hours. And folks can get specific information about the event on Facebook. We have an event called Los Angeles Arma Chiapas Delegation Report Back. And also more information maybe about Arma specifically at armacollective.com.
All right, very good. So Sochi, Carla, Sammy, thank you so very much for coming in studio and sharing that information.